Well, hello everyone. My name is Daphne St. Clair Ferguson, and welcome back to my channel. What the heck is Canadian theater? Who knows? All I know is that it's New Year, and it's March. With Fringe participants drawn, the 24-hour Toronto Fringe playwriting contest now wrapped, we're gearing up for what appears to be a very exciting year.
Because a lot of the students, I'm not one to say, like you're picking basket weaving courses.
Some of you have probably been anxiously waiting at home, anxiously waiting for a new Daphne video. Well, here I am. I'm not dead yet, and I've got a lot of questions. Last year I asked Fringe participants, why Canada? Is the end goal Canada? What do you want to accomplish with your piece? And what do you want to do with your life? As I hypothesized, the answers were varied. For some, this is what they want to do.
Exactly what we're doing now. Yeah,
that's a good answer.
One of the things I would like to do with my life is make plays. Simply.
I also want to make plays with Asenia. And I also want to get people to feel.
I'm already doing my life, man.
Right. There's only one goal in my life, and it is to make money. Thank you.
I've answered. I want to write and perform.
I think I want to make people happy.
But the end goal was certainly not the Fringe. At least not how it's operating right now. The Fringe, on paper, seems to be doing well. Rachel Kennedy, executive director and co-lead, said in the Toronto Fringe 2025 wrap-up press release, quote, the festival increased in size by 25% this year, but we are thrilled to say that our audience not only grew to match, but outpaced the reach of last year's record-setting festival, seeing incredible engagement and hitting 62% of average house sales capacity. Artists are taking home more than $500,000. Ooh. And many have sold out their first shows as professional creators. We could not be more proud of the Fringe staff, volunteers, and artists for this incredible accomplishment and continuing to break boundaries. No easy feat in 2025. End quote. Now, and it's true. There was over $577,500 in revenue returning to the artists, the most in the festival's history. We cannot deny this feat. However, the artists themselves have a hefty bill to pay. Let's break it down. For the main venue, participant fees range from $720 to $1,060 Canadian, based on venue size. For the unconventional venue category, which is a performance venue sourced by participants themselves, the participant fee for this category is comprised of a base fee of $600 Canadian plus 2% of potential ticket revenue based on a $15 ticket price. And for a satellite venue, which is a conventional theater venue that has partnered with the festival, participants in this category can expect to pay an administrative fee to the Toronto Fringe Festival and a venue fee to their satellite venue. These fees range from $1,100 to $2,000 Canadian. I will note that the cost to apply to any of these categories, just apply, is $30. Okay, so let's try to budget here and keep it as simple as possible. We're artists, not mathematicians. Let's say I'm doing a small show, so I'll apply to the small venue. Makes sense. This makes my participant fee $760. In 2025, the price for a single adult ticket was $15 plus a $3.75 service fee. The service fee goes back to the Fringe, so let's just cap our profits at $15 per ticket. In the 2026 festival guide, they've stated that they will continue to expand the Fringe pay-what-you-can model and tiered ticket pricing options, but that's a little too complicated for my brain right now, so we're just going to keep it at $15 per ticket. In a small venue, the seating capacity is 85 seats or less. However, they have noted that most of their small venues have a capacity of 45 to 60 seats, a little less than 80. And they've got a maximum number of 8 performances per company. So, let's say we've got a 60-seat audience. We sell out a 60-seat show. That's $900 in ticket sales. Pretty good. But let's base this off of something a little more realistic. Well, actually, they described it as a feat. Toronto Fringe's quote of hitting 62% average house sales capacity. 62% of 60 is 37.2. Of course, we can't have 0.2 in person, so let's just say 37. 37 people buy a ticket at $15 over 8 shows. You've made $4,440. 444 seems bad luck, but that's fine because we're going to have to take out the venue costs, so we won't be landing on a bad luck number. We're landing on $3,680. Okay, not bad, not bad. But what about the costs for other artists, designers, production team, any additional production costs, set, props, costuming, licensing and royalty fees, rehearsal space, independent marketing, accommodations, etc., 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 all of which is the responsibility of the participant. Well, I'm not worried because I'm producing a small show. We've got a small team. 2 actors, a director, and a stage manager. There's 5 of us. And of course it's Toronto Theatre, so it'll be a profit share, so we're splitting this all equally 5 ways. That's $736. Could be worse. Could be worse. Well, it's going to be, because I forgot, we have to pay for rehearsal space. The Toronto Fringe doesn't supply this, so we gotta pay. Not to worry though, I have found a space that offers $20 an hour with a minimum of 3 hours. Thanks, Luna Theatre. Okay, so I think we're super incredible. Gosh, we only need 9 hours of rehearsal. I am purposefully being unrealistic here. Most non-union shows run a 4 to 6 rehearsal process, rehearsing 2 to 3 days a week, roughly 3 to 6 hours depending on scheduling. Now my research here is I've talked to other artists, I've seen some TAPA listings, audition postings, and I've done a deep dive on the r/Toronto Theatre Reddit. So 9 hours is essentially no rehearsal time in a space. But I'm going to say, we're doing a lot over Zoom and in shared rehearsal spaces. My apartment's a decent size. We can get around a couple of these things. That runs me $108. So we've made $700 each. Wait, but the Toronto Fringe offers creative liberty. Oh my God, I want projections. I've got an incredible idea for projections. That should be no problem. I've got a projector myself. Why not, right? Oh, yep, it's $500. There's a $500 projection fee. So now we've each made $600. Maybe the projector. We don't need a projector. It's just a pipe dream. So we're back to $700. And this is if we reach 62% of our average house sales each night and everyone pays the full $15 ticket price. So having a successful, by most metrics, Fringe show maybe will allow you to pay half of your rent to live in this city. Toronto, maybe. Maybe. That's good rent. Yeah, this is just not feasible for so many artists. But there are so many artists who return to the Fringe year after year despite this. Why? It's come up in almost every single one of my interviews, and I do believe this is a certainty, that community is the thing. Speaking of, the Fringe hub was moved from Transact to Soul Pepper over in the East End as a part of the creative collaboration initiative adopted by Soul Pepper, the musical stage company Obsidian Theatre, Bad Hats Theatre, and of course the Toronto Fringe. But what the heck is the creative collaboration initiative? I'll tell you. It's a 3-year plan from 2024 to 2027, which, according to Soul Pepper's website, will focus on, quote, community building, shared capacity, and creative cross-pollination while allowing each organization to retain its unique artistic identity and autonomy. Basically, lots of co-production, co-marketing, co-commissioning, co-etc. Now, don't think I'm bashing on this collaboration. I think it's pretty sweet that we've got all these cool companies coming together to bring arts to people at a time when people need it most, and access to art. On Bad Hats Theatre's website, they mentioned that in its inaugural year, the 2024-2025 season, this initiative had already delivered over 115 additional performances. Of course, the also expanded Fringe Festival Hub with 5 venues and a central social area, and generated $450K in co-production contributions, with further collaboration and expansion which they've stated to be expected in future seasons. Pretty exciting. But the Soul Pepper space was, well, let's just say we're collaborating with everyone in that venue. Okay. As an audience member, when I was in one of those studio spaces, I could hear very clearly whatever was going on in the lobby. Whatever $15 beer someone was ordering or $9 latte, I knew it. And I knew what was going on stage. It's kind of like a brain game. But it really took me out of the show. I also caught wind of someone accidentally entering the backstage area while a show was going on because they thought it was a bathroom. Yeah. Seems like there was a major lack of foresight and signage on behalf of Soul Pepper. Rachel Kennedy, our executive director and co-lead, and Laura Paddock, managing director and co-lead, say that they have, quote, seen this hub model thrive in internationally acclaimed fringe festivals in cities like Edinburgh and Edmonton, and can't wait to bring that same energy here, end quote. The problem I had was that there were still so many venues spread out across the city, and regardless, it was hard to enjoy a show within the hub model because I could just hear what was happening in the lobby. I'm not sure how we can combat this issue, and it could very well be passed off to our city planners because the TTC is not so good, because there is no way it should take me 41 minutes, according to the transit app, to get from the Soul Pepper Hub to Tarragon Theatre. Keep in mind, this is only a distance of 7.3 kilometers. The average run time across all ages and genders is 49 minutes and 43 seconds. Well, you know what? I guess 2026 is the year I get into running. As well, I was quite fond of the Transact patio. It was large, the food and drinks were cheap, and overall it was just a great spot to hang out. This new Soul Pepper patio was, it was lackluster to me. Being in Distillery, it was far cheaper for artists to go to a brewery or off-site for drinks and food, so I did not meet as many artists on the patio as I had in years past. Considering being in the Fringe Festival means you're already out between $720 or more, I feel like there should have been an affordable place for artists to hang out that was supplied by the Fringe. To me, this new location undermines the soul of the festival, despite it being called Soul Pepper. And to be honest, I don't think I'm going to find the answers I'm looking for at the Fringe. That's why this year I'm taking things a step further. I'll be interviewing folks from outside the Fringe. I mean, the Fringe is a lottery, right? So how do you know that who you're interviewing actually knows what Canadian theatre is? This does remind me, though, in times past at the Fringe, there were some artistic directors there of theatre companies who I met who didn't want to interview with me because it would look bad that a well-known artistic director of a well-known theatre company doesn't know how to define Canadian theatre. Ah, well. I'm still on the hunt. Canadian stage. I mean, come on, it's perfect. So I'm on their website, and here's a note from their artistic director. The word unprecedented has been pervasive since I began my tenure at Canadian Stage nearly 7 years ago. Unprecedented global pandemic, unprecedented government-mandated closures, unprecedented economic inflation, unprecedented polarization, and now unprecedented shifts in our world's geopolitics. At each juncture, I've been called to reflect on what is required from an arts institution like Canadian Stage. For guidance, I've often returned to the seeds of Canadian Stage, which were planted nearly a century ago when pioneering actor and director Dora Mavermore began her quest to establish the first professional theatre in Toronto. Dora had been inspired by W.B. Yeats, who co-founded Ireland's national theatre, the Abbey, in 1904. Yeats was unqualified in his ambition. The Abbey was meant to, quote, to bring upon the stage of the deeper emotions of Ireland, end quote. Dora wanted the same for Canada, and eventually Canadian Stage was born to bring upon the stage the deeper emotion of Canada. Blah, 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 blah. I am also inviting Canadian artists to work on 3 American plays. Now, I'm confused. Maybe an interview would clear this up. I'm kidding. I wonder if Canadian Stage is even the place to look for Canadian theatre. But at the end of the day, they're doing theatre in Canada, which many have defined to be Canadian theatre.
Canadian theatre is like theatre that happens here.
Theatre that happens in Canada.
That's a really good question. It is when you read lines on a stage in Canada.
So who am I to judge? By definition, Canadian theatre could be American. Speaking of the geopolitics of it all, I do struggle as a journalist to talk about theatre without addressing the real strife we are facing in the world right now. World War III seems imminent. I believe it could be happening right now. People are being murdered in our streets. AI is taking over. The government has seemed to abandon us. But not entirely. Because despite all of this, the will fund your clown show. But why? Why are we still receiving funding? What is so important about continuing theatre in a time like this? I mean, I think, really, what we have are the people who we sit next to. It's overwhelming to scroll through thousands of people, and it makes one feel quite helpless. But it's so easy just to sit next to someone and listen to a story, even just sit in silence, sharing each other's energy. That's real. I mean, theater is real. We need that. Truly, I believe we do.
What do I want to do with my life? You know what? I've been interviewing for a lot of different programs recently, like as a director and creator, and I feel like I'm really bad at talking about that specific question. And I think that people often look at my career and they see the split between, writing and directing, and they think, like, how can you actually do both simultaneously? And in all honesty, that's what I want for my life. I want to do both. I love writing with Ben. It's like the greatest pleasure of my life. I love directing. I love directing the work that we create. I don't see why I should have to choose. I want to do both, and I want to do them well.
I'm doing it. I don't know. Make art. Live with my wife. Hang out in parks. I'm looking at a dog right now. That's nice.
Pretty good.
Hello, dog. But yeah, I want to continue to make art, and I want people to see it. I want to make money doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good answers. Yeah, I kind of feel the same. Live together, be in love. And just keep making work that's interesting to us and hopefully interesting to other people. Tell stories that are worth telling. Uplift other people. Try to be a good person.
I'm a kind of a person who likes to live fully, be present, be honest, be gray. I don't consider life as right or wrong, and a lot of times it's very controversial, but artists don't have morals, and I do think that when you are true to your art, there's no right or wrong, there's always gray, and you are always discovering things. And I treat life as an opportunity to explore and learn, and I am very curious. I would right now I'm like so curious about this sellotape, this tape that is being I know it's very interesting. So that's how I am, so I want to keep living life.
I'd love to bring Eurovision more to Canada, or create a similar contest to that represents smaller performers, showcases them, gets them out there, gives them exposure, and really tries to elevate words of peace and tolerance and equality. I feel like that would be really cool to see in Canada.
Exactly.
That's wonderful.
Exactly. And while everybody's dancing around on stage in these other shows, we're actually getting stuff done.
Here in Toronto, one of the big goals that I have for myself is finding ways to build community in the sense of like connection. Because when I first moved here, everyone was struggling with feeling so lonely. And I was too, because I was new here. I moved here about 3 years ago. And so like, I'm trying to work towards facilitating those relationships or those connections, or trying to build that so I get to enjoy the joy of people being able to be in community and be stoked and like supporting each other.
Whoa. I love the puns. I never get tired of like ocean puns. It's been my life for the past 2 years, and I'm like, I don't care. I more. Oh, my life porpoise. I think his name is something cute like Slippy or something, and I think he's blue, but he has a white belly. And I think he's a guide for me. That like in my dreams he appears and like ushers me along, but he's kind of scary too. And he's also holding one of those like old-timey lanterns.
Right, I see it.
And he's maybe wearing like the little Scrooge hat, and he's kind of being like, come with me. And it's to my doom or it's to greatness, but I don't know yet. No, porpoise. I like when you said porpoise.
Your life's porpoise.
Yeah, I think my life's porpoise is a beluga whale, but she is pink and glittery, and her name is Bethany. And she just wants to check in on everyone and make sure everyone's doing good and offer people ice water when she can.
Oh.
I feel like mine's not that far off either. I want to be able to do this as a career. Want to be able to be happy and, have a nice life where, I think the end goal for Garrett Tiplow and I, as, people that run the company, is to be able to have this company be, a force in the Canadian theater landscape, to keep building.
We would hopefully like to keep doing this in our 2 regions. It's basically from the time that I moved to Toronto, and I lived here for 6-7 years around there. I loved living here, but I grew up in Northern Ontario. It's where I was really shaped as a person, and I want to keep being able to do work here because I do love it here, and half of our company is rooted here. But I also want to be able to keep doing work in Northern Ontario because the infrastructure is unfortunately not at the same level as it is here. We don't have space like indie spaces like this. There are, we can get creative and things like that. But ideally, if we have a space here, we also can have a space somewhere in Northern Ontario as well, and be giving people opportunities.
Okay, I want to keep writing stories and sharing stories. I love dance. What I discovered is I don't really want to make a profession out of performing as a dancer. I find when I'm dancing, that message is more for myself. But when I'm writing, I feel like I have something to say to other people, and I'd love to just keep writing and sharing stories at the Fringe, or maybe professionally, hopefully getting paid for it one day. Fingers crossed on that. But until then, just keep fringing. This has been such an amazing first experience for me. And it's just so inspiring to see all the other artists here as well.
Wow.
Big question.
Lucy, you want to go?
Sure.
I can also go.
Ooh, what a crazy question. Okay, I'm just going to be really general with it, I think.
Go for it.
Because as, emerging artists, the best way to learn about how to do what you're doing is just going out there and doing it. And you learn so much about what you resonate with as an artist in that way. And I've been finding the things that I've been really glued to is telling stories through songs and through theater in that way, and connecting with audiences in real time through those original songs that tell those stories. There we go.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to keep telling stories and
any way that I can. We'll see whether that means I'm on stage, off stage, writing. I want to keep making stories, preferably with these two, because we have fun.
What they said. I'm joking. Yeah, echoing all of that. And I think especially after this process of Velveteen Rabbit, we've each taken on so many different roles and production parts and jobs and everything. But a part of that has also really been like a blessing because we've tried so many different things and kind of dipped our toes in so many different things. So I think that's what I want to continue to do, just like explore things, but maybe give myself a little bit more time in those different avenues than just jumping back and forth. But yeah, continuing to create, continuing to try things, and expanding our hat of all the things that we do.
I want to be interviewed by you every single year. And I think that this is exactly what I want to be doing. Like, I want to be writing and performing and working with people that I truly love. I mean, when you come and see the show, you'll see that it's magical because of the songs and the sets that everyone has just put their hearts into. And that's what I want to do. I just want to make really cool stuff with my friends. That's exactly it.
But back to the point of the video. What did Daphne learn in her second year at the Fringe? Nothing new. People want to do theater because it makes them happy. They love storytelling. They believe it could change the world. And if any of that is true, God love them. The Fringe, like a spoon, is simply a vessel. You can eat cereal with your hands, but it is far more pleasant and a lot cleaner to eat with a spoon. Well, maybe the Fringe is more like eating cereal with a fork. I found a lot of milk dribbling down my chin this year. Guess I gotta find a spoon this year. This is Daphne St. Clair Ferguson, signing off. Oh, and if you think you know what Canadian theater is, send me a little email. Let's chat. Canadian stage, I'm looking at you. Brendan. Daphne. Who is Anthony Cimolino? I have a lot of questions.